Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, it's going to be a different kind of episode this week. I don't have any crafting updates and I don't have any yarn dyeing or business updates. And really, there's only one thing that I've been doing here on the farm this past week. So if you're interested in all of that other stuff, this may not be the episode for you, but I would recommend sticking around because I have something really special to share with you. I have adopted a lamb and he has my heart. He is beautiful, but he is also a lot of hard work. I almost don't know what I'm talking about right now. I am feeding him 4 times a day at the moment, so I'm getting up in the middle of the night to check on him and feed him. And it it's a lot of work, but it is going to be really rewarding, and I am loving it so far. I've also just come straight from feeding him now, so I'm a little bit dirty and looking a little bit bedraggled. I'm about to go have a shower after this, so it's early in the morning, and I've given him his morning feed, had a play. We ran around outside, and now he is back sleeping. His name is Hurley. He is a Suffolk cross with a Pole Dorset, and well, just look at the pictures. He's pretty damn cute, really, isn't he? He's almost 2 weeks old. So I got him on Saturday last week, just after I recorded, and he was abandoned by his mother. He was a twin, and she didn't take to him, only to his other sibling. So he was needed to be bottle fed, and he came up on a farm page on Facebook, and we jumped at the chance because it's difficult, especially in lockdown, to adopt a lamb close by. So it might seem like a surprise that I'm talking about having adopted a lamb, and it kind of is. Just a couple of weeks ago, my sister said to me, "For your birthday, would you like for us to help you to adopt a lamb?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds good." They said they've been looking on Facebook for a little while, or Gumtree, and nothing had really come up that they'd been able to get. Um, but we talked about fencing and how we're going to create. We've got like a little yard already. It just needs one line of fencing and to fix the shelter and some mesh in there. So we kind of talked about where we thought we might be able to put a sheep, and yeah, so then it was sort of like, okay, sure, that's happening, but got a little bit of while to think about it. And then he was available, and we needed to get into action and pick him up pretty much straight away. The day before we picked him up, I cleared out the green shed, which currently houses our ride-on mowers, and it's next to where the tractor is. And it used to be the garage for my grandparents when they were here on the farm. So it's still fairly closed in, and it's a nice, warm, secure spot for him as he's quite tiny. So I put down some hay, created a little bit of a pen area, and then also put down a doona for him to snuggle into for sleeping. Yeah, a doona. He's a very spoiled little sheep. Then I went off to the rural supply store and to the stock feed store, and I got a new gate and fencing wire and mesh for his paddock, which we haven't built yet because he's still very tiny. He's still not able to be outside by himself day or night, because during the day there's a possibility that a wedge-tailed eagle could attack him, and at night there's foxes. So being an animal that is very prone to being preyed on, he needs to be kept safe right now. So that green shed is fairly secure, and at night I play really loud music to cover over any of his bleating, but also because foxes and other prey animals will think that there's a human in there and won't want to come close. That's the theory anyway. That shed is also quite close to where Nassie is, so he is patrolling that area in general. So hopefully he is able to scare away anything that might come close as well. And as I said, I'm getting up in the middle of the night, so I'm doing a middle of the night feeding at the moment until he's a little bit bigger. And then while I'm out, I throw the torch out a lot to sort of like make light movement and noise and make sure that I can scare away anything that might be coming close as well. So yeah, I have all the supplies to make the fence. Hopefully we get to that in the next week. I'd like to be able to have him outside with me in that space so that he can run around and get used to it before it ends up being his permanent space. I sort of have him in and out between the shed and that paddock area. And also at the moment, I've got him on a really soft lead. It is a harness, but his face is too small for the harness part right now. So I'm just practicing putting it over his ears, and I have it really loose, never taut at all. And he just sort of prances around in front of me and then comes back and just gives him enough space to sort of be away and gives me a little bit of security that he is not going to wander too far from me. He is starting to sort of understand, and he does cling quite close when we're out, but he's young and gets distracted, and he hasn't learned that recall yet. So that's my little bit of security there. But if I had that paddock ready, then I could let him roam a little bit further and then start to sort of teach him that recall without having the lead on, which I know he can feel, and so he knows that I'm just that little bit away. I also bought baby bottles and teats and milk powder and tablets for sterilizing the bottles and all sorts of other bits to go along with mixing up his milk. And shortly I will be buying some pellets as well and start to get him on a little bit of pellet food to try and wean him a little bit quicker. And also he's really interested in the grass and hay already. So if I can provide a little bit of nutrients for him on top of the milk, I think that will be a really good thing. And he's already been to the vet, and the vet had suggested that as well. And he's been feeding really well. So all really good signs, and the vet was really happy with how I'd been taking care of him so far. So as I said, I wanted to sort of train him to be really bonded to me and to respond to my voice. So far, it seems like he might be, but I think I'm just the milk machine at the moment. Um, as soon as I open the door to the green shed, he runs at the side of the pen and he carries on and bleats and tries to jump out. So as soon as I get in there, I have to lift him up and have him right next to me. And once I do that, he calms down and I can get his bottle ready. That was a bit of a learning. I thought I'd just be able to say, it's okay, I'm here. But no. It's all about the milk. And but once he's done with that, then he sort of settles down. So the next few weeks are going to be pretty much the same. There will be 3 to 4 feeds a day with a build up in the amount of milk that he gets, and then I'll drop it back down again to wean him off the milk once he's started to get into eating the pellets and eating grass, and also being able to consume water as well. There is the possibility that I will be looking for a friend for him as well. Now, it is a lot of work and I am really tired, but for his benefit, it is better if he has at least one other little friend with him, because they are flock animals, and it will give him much more security and warmth and protection and just the socialization for animals if he has another sheep with him. So I'm on the lookout, trying to decide whether to get another baby that I need to bottle feed or to get something a little bit older. If it is a little bit older, I do need to have that fencing done. So sort of that's the next priority in terms of making sure that we get the fences all taken care of and that he can get out there and kind of get a feel for it. And then I think I'll make a decision on what the next steps are in terms of a possible friend. So the next few weeks will probably still be very Hurley heavy in content because I am spending most of my time in that routine of caring for him and then doing other little bits and pieces of stuff in between. I might have some crafting progress to show you next week. I have done a little bit, but really nothing worth showing. So if I combine maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of craft, it'll be worth having a little look at that. I still haven't blocked my crossover cardi because I've just gone into being mama sheep mode. Um, so yeah, that's what's happening here on the farm right now. If you've got any questions about Hurley or what I'm doing or how I'm looking after him, maybe pop them below and I can do a little bit of a Q&A if that is of any interest. Oh, something that I didn't say earlier is that I was doing some research on Suffolk and Pole Dorset, and you see how amazing his coat is right now, how it's really like black and white speckled and looks really cool. Well, apparently, as they grow up, it mostly turns to white. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that happens with him with the cross. I'm not sure how that works. So yeah, I'll be taking lots of photos. I was going to be taking lots of photos anyway, but it'll be interesting to see how his wool does turn out. At the moment, he feels like a woolen carpet. It doesn't feel like a long staple length of wool like you would feel on like a fully grown sheep. It's literally a very, very short carpet-like feel, and it is so soft and lovely. And he's got his little spiky white on his head. His legs and head will stay as more like a hair, which still needs to be like cut and groomed, but not as much as the wool, which will bulk out once he starts to grow. Okay, well, I'll probably wrap that up here. I have been talking for quite a while. I could probably think of other things to say about him, but maybe I can save those for next week. I'm sure there'll be some stories about how he develops his personality. And as I said, if there's any questions you have, pop them below and we can have a chat about it next week.